you've landed on the Lonely Diplomat podcast, and wherever you are in the world, welcome. I'm Phil McAuliffe, and I'm the Lonely Diplomat. I've got a website, thelonelydiplomat.com, which is all about helping reconnect diplomats and those who live the diplomatic life to themselves and to the world around them. And the website has my blog, this podcast, and details of other services, all designed to help diplomats and those living the diplomatic life to reconnect with themselves and the world around them. Before we go on, if you have been a regular listener of, or listened to any other episode of the Lonely Diplomat podcast, you'll know that I start each episode by calling out the cities, capital cities of the world in alphabetical order. This week, this episode, which is episode 31 of the Lonely Diplomat podcast, we're up to the letter X. And there's no capital city in the English language, at least, that starts with the letter X. So it was a bit weird, I have to admit, jumping straight on in, and I've kind of been thrown off my game. But here we are. There you are. Whether you're listening through a podcasting service or watching over my channel on YouTube. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you pressing play, and I'm looking forward to having a quick chat with you in this 31st episode of the Lonely Diplomat podcast about an issue that was raised with me a few months ago by one of my audience who contacted me and by email to my email address admin@thelonelydiplomat.com, asking my thoughts and my ideas, my suggestions on how they could manage their emails. And the question went along the lines of, help, I've got too many emails and I'm really scared of missing something. And the first, I responded to them, and we've had some conversations. But the very first thing that I want to say in sharing my answer with you, wherever you are in the world, is, emails. Like, really, what a terrible scourge emails can be. And it can actually just feel like we drown in a sea of unread emails. I mean, really, there's just so many. Some days it's just every time you turn around, there are a dozen more emails. They're all clamoring for our attention, all containing deadlines, all containing, bits of information, some useful, some not. And it's little wonder that we can be terrified in this an absolute deluge of emails, that we miss something critical. I know you experience it. I experience it. I have experienced it, and it's a unique kind of anxiety that comes with the fear of potentially missing something important in those emails. And if we think about diplomacy for just a moment, the specifics of diplomacy, many companies, there's multinational organizations, there's multinational companies, there's indeed all sorts of businesses around the world, who operate around the world. But diplomacy is unique, I contend, because we work, when we're on a diplomatic posting, we work in our own time zone and with trying to advance our country's interests with another country's government. And so we're kind of beholden to the other countries, our host countries' media cycle. We're beholden to our other country's political system, as well as our own. And not only do we, work with, our capital, wherever that is in the world, and sometimes that's a 12, 13, 14 hour time difference between us and our capital cities. Not only that, but we work with colleagues in other missions around the world. So it can be a rare day where we get very few emails. There's always something going on, there's always something clamoring for our attention. And so I was really keen to share this topic with you because I know that it will resonate with so many of you, wherever you are in the world, as it has and as it does with me. So there's a couple of things that I want to say in my answer to this, and knowing that you're busy and need to probably get back to some emails, I just want to say this. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of sources on the internet, and in self-help books in bookstores or on electronic bookstores on the internet, positively groan under with the weight of books about product to increase our productivity, and doing more, and starting at 5 a.m. and getting like the emails done and setting you up for a great day ahead, and what I'm talking about. There's so much hints and tips out there in the world. And if you're like me, you've probably done those. You've given them a go and they've worked for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, and then you find yourself regressing back into that kind of always being reactionary because of emails, and then that anxiety that comes from always feeling like you're on the back foot. So the answer is perhaps more than increasing our productivity. The answer is perhaps something different than looking at ways of setting up email folders and auto replies, etc., etc., etc. Whatever the latest hack is. And sometimes the answer to doing more is actually to do less. And so for me, one of the things that I hit upon in the last few years was looking very closely at where my emails were coming from, and a very quick analysis of my emails, and by very quick, probably within 5 minutes, showed that so much of my emails that were clogging up my email inbox were internal communications from within my team. My team, who was sitting not 10 meters away from where I was sitting, and we were treating emails as instant messaging. And I thought, no, that crap's got to stop. We can talk to each other. We can, do other things that don't essentially clog up our emails. So I'm happy to share more details of my system, what really worked for me, and by really worked, reduced my email volume by about 70%. I'm really happy to share that with you if you want to reach out and send me an email to admin@thelonelydiplomat.com, and I can just tell you more about that if that's what you'd like. But, and this is the crux of the matter, you could do so much. You can implement my very simple system, which involves a spreadsheet, a very simple Excel spreadsheet that's on a common drive that everyone in the office can access. You can use that. You can get up at 5 a.m. and clear emails, or never go to bed with an unread email. Whatever the latest hack is, you could do all of those. But as I said, you're going to find yourself regressing unless you get to the source of why you're so scared of missing something. This is not about emails. This question is not about emails. This question is about the fear that we have of missing out, the fear that we have potentially of the judgment that comes from when we miss an email, the judgment that might come if we're caught flat-footed, the judgment that we might put on ourselves, that we're being like we're so stupid for missing that, and if only I hadn't done this and spent more time doing emails, I wouldn't have felt like a fool when someone, in the office said, "Oh, there's this going on and you don't know anything about it." That's the real issue. It's that fear. It's the fear of missing out. It's the fear of judgment. And when we're talking about fear of judgment, for people like me, and I dare say people like you, people who are high achieving people, people who do set high expectations of our own performance and our own contribution to the world, that fear, the fear of judgment of ourselves, is what we really, really fear, because we can judge ourselves far more harshly than anybody. Anybody could judge us, external to us. That's the crux of my answer to that very innocuous question. It's why are you scared of judgment? And let's put the wide angle lens on this for just a moment and remove emails as the subject. But where else in life right now are you fearing missing out? Where else in life right now do you fear judgment? And what do you do to compensate or to mitigate that risk, to speak like a bureaucrat, to mitigate that risk of judgment? What do you do? What are you doing? That's my invitation to you in this episode, to think about that. Where else in life where are you avoiding judgment? Where are you contorting yourself physically, maybe not physically, but certainly mentally and emotionally, to avoid judgment? It might make you a little uncomfortable to consider that, but remember, you don't have to do it alone. And indeed, doing it alone, doing the considerations alone, actually misses a vital opportunity, a really great opportunity to connect with other people around us. So you might have a friend in the office or at work with whom you can have a conversation about how emails are a gateway to your fear of judgment. And if you're not comfortable with that, you might want to speak to your mentor. And if you don't have a mentor, I would love to be your mentor. And indeed, I offer mentoring services for diplomats and those who live the diplomatic life for if you become a site member of thelonelydiplomat.com, and if you become a minister member of my site, you can have a one-on-one mentoring chat with me every 3 months, so that's every quarter. Or if you become an ambassador member, we can have a chat every month, and I can support you, challenge you, inspire you, and serve you directly, one-on-one. And if something within you in the considerations of email and how it stresses you and how you fear missing out and you fear judgment really does make you uncomfortable, you might want to consult the services. You might want to use the services of your counseling service, because it might sound minor. It really might. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. You might want to consult the counsellor that your agency uses and have a chat with them, because this question is about emails, but it's really not about emails. And this fear of missing out, and this fear of judgment can really hold us back, can really stop us from feeling connected to ourselves and to the world around them. I know it certainly was for me. So you're not alone. Reach out, ask questions, start a conversation where you are. Let's have a chat. If you want to have a chat with me, I'm here to help, serve, support, challenge and inspire you as you lead your diplomatic life. So that's it for this episode. I wanted to make this really quick. And if you've got a question for me, and you want to hear my thoughts on my answer to a question that you posed to me in another episode, please send me an email to admin@thelonelydiplomat.com. If you've got a suggestion for me on how to, like any feedback, good, bad feedback, all is welcome. Send me an email, or do feel free to reach out to me on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or indeed here on, if you're watching, on YouTube. Know how much I appreciate the choice of pressing play. I hope this has been a very helpful insight for you. And until we have a chat again next week, be awesomely and humanly you, because the world really does need more you.